So I have some great news and some not so great news to share with you today. And the great news is that I bonds are going to be returning probably around 9% guaranteed starting in May. So we're going to talk about all this, how it works, the rules, if you should be investing in I bonds, and the not so pretty side of all of this. So if you're new here, my name is Dallin Hawes. I'm a financial planner serving you guys as federal employees, helping you guys retire confident, maximizing your benefits and your money, and all that good stuff. So we're going to jump right in. So you might have known if you've been here on the channel that back, I think it was in December, I talked about I bonds for the very first time, because in November is when the first round of inflation really started to hit and affect I bonds. So for those that don't know, I bonds basically are the government's way for, if you invest in them, they're going to track inflation. Close. It's not going to be perfect, but pretty close, right? So if inflation is high, I bonds are going to return higher returns as well. And every 6 months, the rate that I bonds return is going to adjust based on what inflation was the previous 6 months. So back in November, the rate was, I think, 7.12, if I remember correct. But now the rates, I mean, when I'm doing this, it is the back part of April. So the full data and numbers aren't in quite yet, but it's probably going to be around 9%, which is even higher than November. And in November, I was saying, wow, it's such a good rate of return. So about probably around 9% is what we can expect here in May when the new rates are advertised. But what does high I bond returns mean? Well, it means inflation and prices have gone up, right? A lot. That's what it means. So obviously there's other ramifications when I bonds are up, right? But the good news is there's a way for you to invest in them so your money grows with inflation, especially right now where interest rates are still relatively low. They are increasing, but they're still relatively low. You can't go invest in a CD and earn 9%. It's just not going to happen. Not going to happen, right? So, but we're also going to talk about today some of the downsides of an I bond, which if you saw that other video, you may be aware of. So first is they're not perfect for everyone because these are the rules. First, you can only invest up to $10,000 per person into I bonds. So if it's you and your spouse, you can do $20,000 or up to $20,000 per year into I bonds. So you can't do a huge amount, unfortunately, but that is the rule and that's how it works. Second, you cannot touch the money within the first 12 months. The first year of investing in I bond, it is stuck in the I bond. You don't have access to it, okay? Next, if you take the money out after or before 5 years, you can take it out after, as long as it's been longer than 1, you can take it out before 5, but you do lose about 3 months worth of interest that you would have earned by taking it out or by waiting at least 5 years. Now, I bonds are returning at such a high rate that losing 3 months, well, it's not a big deal. You're still earning a much higher rate of return than you would on anything else that is this safe, right? Because in I bonds, you can't lose money. Like, you're not going to put money in and it's going to come out at a lower rate. That doesn't happen. Now, inflation, of course, happens, but I bonds, of course, are meant to match inflation. So, who does it make sense to invest in I bonds? For what kind of situation does it make the most sense? Well, if someone has, let's say, millions and millions and millions of dollars, then investing 10 grand in I bonds, well, it may be more of a hassle than it would be worth, right? Depending on what they like to spend their time doing, right? And if someone makes only a little, well, maybe all their savings needs to go into the TSP, for example. So probably for people in the middle, it makes the most sense where they can still get a lot of value out of it, and the hassle is worth it, right? And so that's probably the type of folks that this makes the most sense for. But again, we'll see how these evolve over time, and we'll kind of go from there. Again, the rate adjusts every 6 months. So when you invest in it, you have a guaranteed rate of return for 6 months. After that, it changes to whatever inflation is. So you could say, well, the rate can go down after 6 months. Like, yes, it certainly can. But that also means inflation has gone down, which prices have stopped rising as high of a rate, so which is good news. So that is the summary about I bonds and what they're expected to do. Now we'll see this, and I'll be right here walking you through as things change and as inflation changes and all the things affect everything. Right? I'll be right here walking you through all the steps. So if you're looking to invest in I bonds, if you just type in Treasury Direct or I bonds on Google, the websites will come up and you'll be able to invest. And again, it is somewhat of a hassle. You can't do it in a normal brokerage account like Vanguard or anything else. it is through Treasury Direct. So you got to check that out to invest in them. So Ibons can be a great tool for those that are interested, but again, it doesn't make sense for everyone. So if you have any questions or comments, put in the comments below. I love to get people engaging and answering and telling the stories about what they did. And I know I talked to tons of people that actually took me up on my advice back in November, December when I published the first video. They invested and they're earning that 7.12%, whatever it is. And of course, you can even earn more by investing more or just keeping your money in the Ibon. So I hope that's helpful. Have an incredible rest of your day. We'll talk soon.